We have made it to another Friday.
How?
Yeah, how?
Barely.
I mean,
The original. Often duplicated.
No. Often imitated. Never duplicated.
There we go.
Often imitated. Never duplicated.
Man, you've been
Beer
saying that for
for
13
breakfast.
years, and you screwed it up
Well,
every
Well, no, I
week.
didn't. I actually just started saying that recently when
did you?
a bunch of other crappy shows started ripping us off. But that's another story for another time, friends.
Shot
Today
fired.
we are celebrating the world of craft beer, and we're celebrating friendship, unfortunately.
Audrey's not here because she was overserved last night.
She was, but
She deserved to be last night.
she deserved. And I specifically picked this beer for Audrey because we keep missing stouts. She loves stouts, and so I picked another stout. And
Well, she wasn't here last week because her husband had to get surgery, and so we picked a stout again this week, and, then she gets too drunk last night.
That's
Doesn't show
right.
up. Whatever, man. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, the beer
can
that we're
enjoy it
drinking
together.
today, the Obsidian Stout from our friends over there at Deschutes out of Bend, Oregon. I mean, we're talking
Bend.
Bend.
a craft brewer that has been around for decades. They've been a staple, and they really just put out good stuff and have been for a long time. The Obsidian Stout that we have in our hands today has 6.4% alcohol by volume, and 55 IBUs today, being served from a 12-ounce brown bottle that is sold in a six-pack, reasonably priced at $9.99
For a six-pack?
for that six-pack.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And per serving, around 220 calories per serving.
Okay. What does obsidian mean?
Black.
It just means black?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a type of stone, but it's also like it's a color as well, but it just means
Interesting.
black. And when you look at this,
That does check out. It is black.
I like it because my name's at the end of it.
Obsidian.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can't spell obsidian without Ian.
That's how I ruin the segment.
You narcissist.
Serve it out of a pint glass anywhere between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The 5 categories in which we rate every single beer here on Beer for Breakfast: look, smell, taste, feel, and drinkability. Starting at the look, Dave, as you pointed out, I mean, the Obsidian Stout from Deschutes poured a dark as night black. Some tan off-white color head.
Mm-hmm.
With a very maybe not heavy, but just below heavy pour. Produced about 2 inches, 2 fingers of head
Yeah,
on
very,
top
very
of that.
creamy looking head on the top. And it really stands out because the beer is so dark beneath it. But yeah, it
Not
looks,
not super carbonated, but just the right amount of carbonation. Let's move on to our next category, which is the smell. I'll take a big whiff of the Obsidian Stout.
it smells bitter, if that makes sense.
Well, I think you're getting some of that
dark chocolate, yeah.
Some like, for me, you get that the malts are there as well,
Definitely
roasted
some malts,
malts,
yep.
some coffee, but that hints of that like cocoa powder.
Oh, yeah, I am getting the cocoa powder,
And
definitely.
That's that like kind of bitterness, that baking, the baking chocolate that you may smell.
It almost smells like I left the brownies in the oven for a little bit too long.
But you better leave them brownies in the oven a little too long. Around the edges.
The naughty
I
little
want
crunch
all-
on the edge.
I want some
Oh,
obsidian
yeah.
brownies.
Just
Yeah.
That's right, just crunchy as hell.
Let me eat them corners, girl.
I want all corners.
Oh, yeah.
All corners.
All
All the
corners.
corners.
Give some love to the middle every once
Nope.
in a
Oh,
while.
I'll
Nope.
take the middle,
Some
too.
love
That,
to the
gooey,
middle.
that gooey middle.
Not in the middle like Mahoney. No, none of that.
No middle, Mahoney?
As it warms, light hint of alcohol. I mean, obviously this is a stout, but it's not a big, heavy, like 10+ double-digit stout. This is a very reasonable stout. Let's move on to our favorite part of Beer for Breakfast, and I'll take a big drink
Yes.
of the Deschutes Brewing
Such a
Obsidian
Cheers.
Stout. Dave, we'll start with you, since you're traditionally more of a IPA guy. But what do you think of the Obsidian Stout?
It's not for me.
Wow.
It's not for me. It's
Okay.
fine. It's fine. I mean, like, I'm not a stout guy, but the thing that gets me is that it leaves a real bitter aftertaste. And I know that that's by design, but, like, that's just not my personal flavor. So, yeah, it's not for me.
AKA it sucks. That's what Dave's saying.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Mahoney, unfortunately, I'm going to kind of lean more towards Dave there. The actual definition for obsidian is a dark natural glass formed by the cooling of molten lava. This tastes like I'm drinking natural glass. Like, I don't like it. It's bitter. I feel like it's too overwhelming. And the flavor notes are there in the scent, but just not in the taste.
See,
It seems kind of bland, doesn't it?
It really
bland
does.
and bitter, which is
I
kind
would
of like my personality, but I don't like that in my beer.
Yeah.
See, and I'm on the other end of that. You get those malts, early on, but they're not overpowering, in my opinion. I don't think I think it's kind of got a nice balance to it. Obviously, the coffee is very, very forward. Obviously, that baking chocolate, that powdered cocoa comes in the next wave. The finish, it's almost like it's not a hop bite, but there is a little bit of bitterness in that finish. It's kind of like a bitter coffee note, but I don't hate that personally. I think this is a very flavorful stout all the way around, and the alcohol basically non-existent in the body of this one. The mouthfeel, medium-bodied, pretty smooth, not quite velvety, but just under velvety. The drinkability, for me, this is an easy drinking beverage. I think this is a fantastic way to get into the world of stouts, because I didn't think it was too overpowering. Some of those bourbon-aged stouts or some of the more coffee-forward or more the, just the heavy roasted malt-forward stouts can be a little off-putting for people who are scared of dark beers. I thought this was kind of a gateway stout for me personally.
That bitterness doesn't turn you off at all, huh?
No, not really. I don't mind it, but I also
It's almost like a different bitter,
like a burnt coffee almost.
Which isn't
who likes
good.
burnt coffee?
I don't mind burnt coffee.
What? You monster?
That's just me, man.
You need to go seek help.
Okay.
You do.
Hey, we all have.
And the thing that gets me is the bitterness is still there. I took a drink and I put it down, and it's still lingering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to happen?
I don't know. I mean, I assume so.
I don't mean to, Deschutes is a great brewery, but unfortunately, I think they missed the mark on this one. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, this one has been brewed for, I believe, 20-plus years. I think 2001
They keep
was
on brewing it?
I mean, look, I will, again, go on the record and make sure people understand. I am not a fan of stouts. So me, dogging on a stout is not a huge surprise. You love stouts, right?
Stouts, on the other end, are my favorite style of beer.
I do like that this
I love
has
porters. I love stouts.
Yeah, I thought the one last week was way too weak as far as alcohol goes when you're drinking a dark beer like this. 6.4% is much more on brand as opposed to the, 5% last week?
Yeah.
This one just doesn't have a lot of the malt flavors to it, though. And the bitterness is just so off-putting to me.
Yeah,
Really?
and I thought, I'm looking at this and okay, maybe we got an old batch that had turned. No, this beer is, 2 months old. Yeah, it was brewed and bottled 2 months ago, so it's still well within the realm of freshness. For me, I like this beer, personally.
Okay.
I like the Obsidian Stout. I like everything that Deschutes has put out. They've been a staple of the craft beer world for many, many years. And
actually, excellent observation, because our boy Kyle, in our Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Dave Mahoney, had a great observation about how this tastes. And he put into words what I was trying to. He said, this tastes like a lady of the night put her cigarette out in my mouth.
No, it does not. It's nothing like that.
Sounds kinda hot.
There's a lot of sacrilege being thrown around about the integrity of this beer, and I will wholeheartedly disagree.
Well, Manrold said, Mahoney, you were surrounded by basic hoes today, which maybe
Thank
that is
you.
the case. Maybe we're just too basic.
I think
guess
so.
Could be it.
And we're
It could
hoes.
be. And I'm certainly yes.
Can I get a drum roll, please?
No, you can't. Not today. Sure.
Oh, Mahoney's Beer Scale Service. I'm afraid. I give the Obsidian Stout from Deschutes Brewing a 4.05 out of 5.
You're so full of it, man.
Hate the beer, love the rating.
It's a good
Did
beer.
you go over?
Yeah, I took
a
the
good
over.
beer.
Took the over?
It's a
Took
good
the
beer.
over.
You're so full
Love
of it. It's a
it.
terrible beer.
It's good.
Terrible rating. Your beer scale of supremacy has lost all
I
credibility.
hope when you
these
go to
past 2
Oregon
weeks.
next, they shun you from the state.
Why? Because one beer's bad?
No.
Yeah.
Make better beer.